Hello, welcome to the IFP Phoenix Member of the Month Conversations. My name is Webb. I'm the Executive Director of IFP Phoenix, and today I'm so happy to have Laura Weiss with me. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. So you are an editor. I don't think we've ever interviewed an editor before.
Okay.
Tell me about yourself. How did you become an editor?
Well, I got my start in LA. I actually, after college, I went to UC Santa Cruz. I studied film and theater there, and I decided editing was my favorite part of making my own films.
Really?
And so I packed up all my stuff and put it in a van and drove to Los Angeles, and I only knew, you know, 2 people, and they weren't in the business.
So you said, I'm going to make it, I'm going to go to LA and make it happen, right?
Yes, I was 21.
Nice. Young and not really thinking about it, you're just going to make it. Awesome.
Right.
Great. So how long did you live in LA? How long did you do that?
I've lived in LA for over 10 years.
Wow.
And when I got there, I just knocked on doors. It was before 9/11.
Oh, okay.
So I could walk onto any studio without any problem and any building. And I met so many people. I mean, I knocked on D.D. Allen's door. That was incredible. And I just kept working my way up from there.
Let's talk about some of the projects that you worked on while you're out there for those 10 years.
Sure.
Maybe let's put one of your first great projects that you got to work on.
Well, still one of my favorite films today is My Dog Skip, and that was one of my first films. I was a PA on it, and I actually learned how to cut film on that movie.
The 35 millimeter?
Yeah, 35,
okay.
which
Nice.
was so much fun. I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a wonderful film. It's great for older children.
Yeah. Now that you have a son of your own, I'm sure that'll be one of those films you get to show him.
I can't wait.
Mom, you worked on this film.
Yeah, see Mommy's credit.
There it is, exactly. Nice.
Yeah.
So what were some of the other films that kind of followed up from there?
Well, after knocking on a few more doors, I got
Exactly.
connected with Adam Sandler's company.
Nice.
And I got hired on again as a post-production PA, and I worked my way up to apprentice and assistant, and so it was a wonderful platform to learn and laugh a lot.
I could imagine if you're cutting Adam Sandler's
Yeah.
footage. I'm sure, I mean, I don't know what he's like behind the scenes, but a lot to choose from, I assume.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and it was just an adventure all the time. So really wonderful.
I know, like some of those projects, it was 50 First Dates, right? What were some of the other ones?
Favorites.
That was one of your favorites. Yeah, that was my wife loves that film
Oh,
too.
good.
She's like, oh, 50 First Dates, one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah,
So,
it's pretty cute.
What were some of the other Adam Sandler ones that?
Let's see, I worked on Mr. Deeds, and my last one was The Longest Yard, and that was actually the last film that I ever cut 35 millimeter on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Then it just kind of went to Avid? Is that what happened?
Yeah, well, they went exclusively Avid. We cut on Avid the whole time, but we conformed 35.
Oh, okay.
And then I just needed to spread my wings and went on to other projects and became a visual effects editor. Oh, and I was a visual effects editor on Push with Dakota Fanning.
Okay.
That was pretty cool.
Very cool.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. So you were in LA for all those years, you did all those cool projects, and then you decided to make the trip to Phoenix, and thank you for coming. This is awesome to have somebody like you in town.
Yeah, my husband's a salesman, and so he convinced me to come, and actually it's been wonderful we now have a young son, and it's been great to have the baby here, and you know,
family life here in Phoenix. It feels very peaceful to you.
It's peaceful. I think for us, it's good for having our family here. Good. Yeah, and also, you know, it's opened the door to lots of other things. I'm able to work from home now with my own system, and that's been fantastic. I have a lot of clients now who I edit for, and you know, that's just fantastic.
And so you're editing at home, like you said. What do you edit on Avid at home, or have you gone the indie route like the rest of us?
I've gone Final Cut, which
okay.
of course I love Avid. It's definitely the industry standard in Hollywood, and it's a great system. But for home use, Final Cut it's less expensive, it's user friendly.
You know, are there any tools that you're missing from Avid that you don't have in Final Cut? Is there something in Final Cut that you really prefer over Avid, or just you personally?
You know, it is that way. You know, even just little things like in Avid, you can't get that waveform up in the source monitor like you can in Final Cut, and that's just a little feature I love in Final Cut. But then at the same time, I think Avid maybe has a better trim tool. So, you know.
A little here, a little there, but it's pretty much the same tool, right? You get the same results at the end of the day.
It really is. Right? I mean, all it is learning the tools to do the same craft and art that I've been doing all along.
Excellent. So we talked about our tools and, you know, obviously Final Cut. I use Final Cut as well, and I'm an editor. But what I find fascinating is, you know, both being editors, at the end of the day, we have our final piece that we give to our clients, but how we get there. It's always interesting to talk to people and understand how that process, that creative process.
Well, it depends on the size of the project and the nature of the project. If it's more like a commercial or a promo, or if it's a feature, or if it's a short film. But you know, all of it is the same process in that you know, I get to know the material, I understand the budget, I understand the timeline and the time limits, and go from there. And I just apply the same knowledge of rhythm and putting light and pictures together to tell a story.
Now, like as far as your process, do you like to watch every take for what it is and try to get all that in your head?
Well, I do watch everything. Wow. That's something that I learned working on features, that to really take the time to watch everything, because you know, you never know when you're going to find that moment.
Right. For, let's say, a feature-length project, what's your process there? Do you cut scenes together to get mini arcs, or what's your process there?
I do. I go scene by scene, and you know, not necessarily in linear order. It also depends on what the director wants. I think.
I want to see this scene first. Can you cut that? I'm excited about that.
A good editor is always, you know, looking to their director because it's their ultimate vision, right?
Right. So tell me about some of the current projects that you're working on right now.
I worked on a short film called Out of Focus, a thriller. I think the visual effects are still being done.
Oh, okay. So it's still in post.
Yeah, it's still in post.
So is that out of your hands at this point?
It's out of my hands.
Oh, okay. So you've done the cut of that,
yes,
and then it's on to visual effects.
I can't wait to see it with visual effects.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I worked on a documentary called Between Light and Darkness.
Between Light and Darkness? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. What was that about?
It was about two entrepreneurs in Afghanistan, Afghans, one woman and one man, trying to re-educate teachers and also help women get jobs and keep them to support their families.
That sounds more like a documentary than
that
a narrative.
That was a documentary.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So wait, so you worked on a documentary. Talk to me a little bit about documentary editing then, since we're just touching on this now. But editing process is quite different, isn't it?
Yes, yes. That one was quite a beast because there was a lot of footage, and also because the characters weren't native speakers, English speakers. You know, fine cutting all of that was quite a task.
Wow.
I worked with Dr. Penelope Price on that one.
Oh, from SEC.
Yeah, from SEC,
Right. Excellent.
Yeah. And so the process was fine cutting that. Also finding the story in all of that footage was an adventure.
Exactly. Which is what got you into editing in the first place. You like finding that story, right? So documentary, it's all about finding the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, fine cutting it first and then putting those little scenes together and building that story piece by piece like a puzzle.
Right.
And then, you know, when it fits together, it's wonderful. And then
it's like a puzzle where you don't get the picture. It's no fair.
Right.
You know, you're building, you're like, I don't know what I'm building, but this is cool.
Right. Or you hope you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that was really rewarding because,
very
you know, it's not just for fun. I mean, so much of my career has been for fun and making people laugh and entertaining them.
Right, with Adam Sandler and everything.
Yeah,
so
and
now it's very serious with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's
very
really, you know, helping the world understand, opening a window to new understanding.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you've got all this great talent. You're in Phoenix. You're doing this great work in Phoenix, and you know, I'm sure that you'd be able to share all this great knowledge. And thank you for doing this interview. But you know, is there any way that we could maybe, as IFP, convince you to come and do a seminar and teach us some of this great stuff that you have?
Yes, I'd love to do a seminar here. I've done some teaching in town.
Oh, excellent.
And really found that so rewarding.
Cool. Because I know we're just scratching the surface today. There's so much you can do in 12 minutes. So
I know.
To be able to do a class where you can really learn some of those nuances and details of what you know, I think would be fantastic. So
well, I'd love to do it.
But let's work on that.
Okay, great.
So if anybody out there wants to get in touch with you, how would somebody get in touch with you?
Well, you can always look at my credits on IMDB.com. I'm Laura Weiss 1. There's several of us, but I'm the first one.
Okay, yay!
Yay! So that's a partial list.
Okay.
And then if you want to contact me, it's laura.j.weiss@gmail.com.
Well, thank you again so much for coming out and doing this interview. It was great to talk with you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time on the IFP Member of the Month Conversations.